Okay, what's up, everybody? My name is Eric Clark, and I am the Phoenix Rising. But anyways, y'all, it's been 5 years since I had to start my whole life over, if I should say. Man, this story is like, please bear with me as I tell this story. But anyways, like, you may wonder why I waited so long to tell my story, and the reason being is because, like, well, there's many times I wanted to share my story. Don't get me wrong, but like, I just never felt like it was the time. Like, also, I always felt like I didn't feel like I was comfortable enough to tell my story. Like, I wasn't comfortable enough in my skin. I wasn't ready enough. Like, I didn't feel ready to be that vulnerable with the world. But now I feel like God is like really calling on me to share my story and share my experience and what I went through. Because I know, like, the magnitude of what I went through. Like, there's people that can take a lot of advice and a lot of inspiration from what I've been through, especially like where I'm at right now. Because where I'm at right now is not, it's like it's far. Nobody expected this, not even myself. I mean, I knew I would get back, but I didn't know that I would be like this. Like, and that's not to be cocky. That's just to say, like, I'm just like proud of myself. But yeah, so like, anyways, like, let's get it started. So please bear with me because this topic is sensitive as fuck to me. Like, but anyways, so 5 years ago, on this month, I faced a terrible football injury, and I was paralyzed from the neck down. And I remember the accident like it was yesterday. Like, I remember falling to the ground because it felt like I hit a train. Like the hit, and I'll show the hit in one of the videos. I'll show the hit, but it felt like I hit a train. Like, it was so scary because it was like, and I told the doctors and everybody and like, it was a head-to-head injury for so long because it literally felt like I hit a train. And then when I actually looked at the video, it's like, it wasn't even a hard hit. It was time. Like, I don't know how to explain that. I mean, because I got injured in sort of the same way, but two days prior before the accident. It was like a temporary paralysis. Like, I was only on the ground for like 60 seconds. And when I got back up, I didn't feel different. Like, so I thought I was good enough to play in the next game. And so that's what happened. I played in the next game. And as I fell to the ground, like, I knew that this time, like, it was time, like, this was permanent. Like, I knew it, like I'm not gonna get up this time. And then, like, a lot of regret, a lot of things just started to fill my mind. And the only thing I could say was, like, am I paralyzed? Like, am I paralyzed? Am I paralyzed? Like, I was trying to scream, but I couldn't scream. My vocal cords were also paralyzed. So it was like, my voice sounded like, am I paralyzed? Am I paralyzed? But I thought my voice was sounding like, am I paralyzed? Am I paralyzed? Like, that's what I thought my voice was sounding like. But, and so on with the story. So the coaches, they all come on the ground. They all come, not on the ground, but they all come over there to see what was wrong with me. And everybody just looked at me like in disbelief, and I didn't understand. Like, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like I said, the only thing I was like saying was like, am I paralyzed? Like, my brother was over there too. Like, all the coaches came over there and they were just surrounding me, and it just scared me so much. Like, this is it. Like, the very thing that I feared the most in his life, like, I'm experiencing it. And I always told myself if I were to ever get paralyzed, like, I would just kill myself. Because, like, I was always a very energetic person. Like, I was a phenomenal football player. And all sports that I played, like.
You out, Aaron. We called you out, Aaron.
Everyone play running back. Let's go.
Touchdown!
Woo! Like, sports was, I was a really athletic kid. Like, my dream, like, all I did was sports. I was very athletic. So with this accident, like, I literally lost everything. I lost everything that I loved, everything. And that includes friends, that family. Like, I lost everything. My whole life was torn apart. I didn't identify with it at all. I don't know how to explain that in the magnitude of what I'm saying, but, like, I lost everything. Like, everything. I had to start all the way over. But yeah, so back to the story. So the paramedics ended up coming, and they had to cut everything off my body. They had to cut off my shoulder pads. They had to cut off everything on me. They had to unscrew my helmet, my visor. Like, they had to, because they didn't know what was going on with me. They didn't know that I was paralyzed. I mean, they knew that it was a paralysis, but they didn't know how severe it was. And so they didn't want me to move my head or jerk me or do anything that can further the injury or, like, make it what it's not, like, make it increased injury, I should say. The paramedics came, like I said, they unscrewed everything, did all that, and that's when that's when it all started to come to me, like, yes, you are paralyzed, and this time, like, it's like I began to slowly just like, damn, like, this is it, like, not saying that I wasn't fearful or I wasn't scared or anything. I was just like, okay, well, this is it. Nobody's saying anything, so I guess I'm paralyzed. Like, I guess this is it. And even when I got in the paramedics, when I got in the truck, in the ambulance truck, I would ask the man who was sitting there, who was sitting in the back with me as I was in the stretcher, I would tell him, am I paralyzed? He didn't even answer me. He just looked at me like I was just like a annoying little kid. And so as I got to the hospital, I remember seeing my mom and my dad's face.
Ball it up. No. Let it go through. Unball it. Okay, ball his hand up. Just ball it. Try to ball it. Move. Put your left leg up. Try to wiggle your toe. Treat ball his fist up. Let it go. Hold it tight here. Hold your fist tight. Can you hold it? Let it.
And it was like, that was like my second time ever seeing my dad cry. And so at that moment, I knew that, like, yeah, like, this time, like, it was serious, like, it was serious. And, like, I knew I had to be strong, like, no matter how fearful or scared I was, I had to internalize, like, this is what's happening. Like, you either throw your life away, it's like, you either stop, you either just let life take you out, or you fight. You use any faith that you have inside of you, and you make a comeback. And that's what was on my mind. Like, as I started to internalize that, the days that went by, it's like I started to get this unknown faith. Like, my mom prayed over me that night. She prayed Psalm 91 over me that night.
Nothing, not wild wolves in the night, not flying arrows in the day, not disease that prowls through the darkness, not disaster that erupts at high noon.
And that thing, like that, after that prayer is when, like, it all started to birth, like, the faith in me. It started to birth, like, I just knew that I was gonna walk again. But in my head, I didn't just want to walk again. And this is how I was able to recover. I didn't just want to walk again. I didn't just want to walk. I wanted to do everything I could before my accident. Like, I wanted my old life. In the hospital, I wanted my old life. I had accepted that I was paralyzed, but I didn't want the new life. Like, I wanted my old life. So every day I was trying to get back to my old life. And that became, eventually, like, as I go deeper into the story, you'll see how this was a detriment, how it became a detriment to my success or to my life moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, and so, yeah, just like on with the story, there's a lot of details that I may leave out because it's such a big story and the video gonna get long. Like, we not even 20% in this motherfucker yet. Like, but anyway, so but now back to the night of the accident. I was rushed into surgery immediately after I got checked in, like fully checked in at the hospital, because my blood pressure was decreasing so much that they even said I could have died due to the rapid decrease in my blood pressure. So they gave me all these stents to go all the way up my neck so that they could inject medication quickly to keep my blood pressure from dropping. And they also gave me, like, I had to take like 30 pills a day to keep my blood pressure high, like, not high, but to keep my blood pressure normalized so that it wouldn't drop. And then, because whenever my blood pressure did drop, I would get, it was causing, like, it would, because I couldn't move anything in my body. And so anybody who's ever experienced anything like that, where they had to sit down for a long period of time, you know that you can get pressure sores and things like that. And if your blood pressure is low, then it just increases the chance of you getting pressure wounds. Like, and I also used to have to wear these Ted hose, like, they were like long socks that I had to wear to keep my blood pressure from, you know what I'm saying, from dropping. Yeah. Also, I remember being in the MRI that night. I had like 3 MRIs that night. because each time I went in the MRI, it was just like, yeah, I was paralyzed, I couldn't move, but it's just like, the MRI is like a big dome, and you have to be in there for like 40 minutes. Well, it depends on how much they're trying to scan, how much, or what is it that they're trying to scan in your body. And in my case, like, I was paralyzed, so they were trying to find a lot of things to figure out what my accident really was. And so I just felt like very claustrophobic, and it just all was like, everything was just coming down on me, like, this is it, like, this is it, like, your life is gone, like. And I just panicked, like, I panicked, like, I panicked. I was like, because I couldn't scream, but the doctors, they all knew I was, like, they knew I was panicking, so they took me out, they put me back in. I did the same thing happen, but more intense, and then they took me out again, and they put me back in, but this time, they put me to sleep so I wouldn't do that. So yeah, that night was so chaotic, it was crazy. I remember, because that was my first time being in, like, not an emergency room, because I'd had plenty of injuries, just not severe as this, but being in Grady, because Grady is like the #1 trauma unit in Atlanta. I think it's in the world, but I know it's in Atlanta, it's the #1 trauma unit. But anyways, yeah, I was, I seen, well, I heard and I seen, I mean, I was on the stretcher like this, so I didn't really see it too much, but like, I heard a lot of deaths, I heard a lot of flat lines, like, I heard so much death and so much pain, like, all day, every day. Those first 2 weeks, it was just pain, like, just so much pain that I had to hear, and just I was just covered in pain and pain and pain. But I was very spiritually protected in the hospital. That's one thing that I will say. I was very, very spiritually protected. Although I lost all my friends in the hospital, which I'm gonna speak on that as well. But although I lost all my friends, I was very spiritually protected. And I had a warrior family, like my family was there the whole entire ride. Like, they were there and they were supporting me, and they didn't leave not one bit. Like, no matter how many times I could have put out bad energy, like, I don't want to be fucked with right now, they were there the whole time, and they made sure that I felt like I belonged, like, because that can make somebody, like, if you're like, there's something, an accident like that, you know, like, that somebody feels different now, like, everything is different now. And so, like, I really appreciate that. So, like, wow, where am I at? This story is so long, like, oh my gosh, like. But anyways, now I'm going to talk about, like, the second phase of recovery. Not second phase, but, like, after 2 weeks, I was in Grady, because I had got transferred after I got all my MRIs, all my scans. And the doctor came in and told me that I would never walk again, that it would take up to 2 years to move anything, which was still, like, just still. And it was many doctors that come in there and said that, look, thinking back right now, like, and I'm here, like, I'm so grateful. And I just really need the world to see just how good God is, because it's like the level of impossibility, and everybody used to just always look at me in shock, like nobody believed. It's just like I was unreal. Like, this story is, like, it's crazy. But yeah, so I was in ICU for like 2 weeks, and then I ended up getting transferred out of ICU into a regular room just to prepare me for rehab. Because I did a little rehab in Grady, because in Grady I started to get a little bit of movement back, and it surprised the hell out of my doctors. Like, it wasn't moving, it was just like spasticity, like, it was spasms. Like, I would just, it's like my body was waking up again. Like, none of the movement, they were just involuntary movements. It's like a reflex, like when you hit yourself and then you reflex. That's basically what it was. But it was just intense as hell. Like, the spasms were like, it looked like I was being possessed or something. Like, my whole body would just shake. I mean, I still have spasms like that now, but not as severe as then. But the thing about it is, these spasms, like, I was so grateful. Like, it gave me so much hope. Like, they said I would never move again. They said it could take up to 2 years to see any movement. But my legs, they may not, I may not be moving them, but they're moving, like. And so that was one of the things that gave me a lot of hope as well. So let's just transition into when I got transferred into Grady. I mean, I got transferred from Grady to Children's of Healthcare of Atlanta. And I remember when my mom, she was like, you want to go to CHOA? I mean, no. The doctors asked my mom, do I want to go to CHOA or do I want to go to the Shepherd Center? And of course, I wanted to go to Shepherd Center because it's like I'm not a kid, like, but I was a kid. I was 16 years old, or 15 years old, and so she was like Choa. And at the time, I was a little bit upset, but now looking back, that was the best decision at that time. Like, that was the best thing, like, because the therapist and the rehab, like, just Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, period, like, it's a blessing. Like you just don't understand, like, the magnitude of how good those people were to me. Like, it just surprised me. Like, and that's why I didn't really focus on losing friends. Like, I didn't really, it's like I couldn't focus on it because of how good the hospital was for me. Like, it was just like I was in heaven. Like, I was placed in heaven the whole ride, like, while I was in the hospital. Not saying like there weren't bad times, but the company around me, like, it was just so uplifting.
You look like it,
Like, it's like I couldn't have a bad day. It's like I couldn't. Like, I don't give myself credit. I give, like, it's the people, it's God and the atmosphere that He gave me to be able to have faith in myself and to believe in the impossible and to get back. Like, it was just amazing, and I'm just truly grateful. But yeah, now let's talk about day rehab. I mean, not day rehab yet, but let's talk about the Choa rehab situation. So, like I said, 2 weeks I had moved into Choa, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and I was in a rehab unit, which was the 3rd floor. I don't know why I said that, but anyways, like, that's when I began to gain my movement back, like, big movements from where I was, at least. Like, I learned, but in the first 2 weeks or the first month, I would say, I didn't really see too, like, drastic change, but it was, to me and to the therapist, it was drastic change because they had never seen anybody recover as fast as I was recovering. Like, I would just get, like, I was able to start moving my hands and, like, start being able to sit up, but I couldn't sit up on my own. Like, they would have to sit me up, and I'll insert videos so that y'all could see more clearly about what I'm talking about.
Very proud of you.
Can you help him mop the ball off your hands?
So fun! Yeah, Nico went on an outing, went bowling with everybody.
I had to, man, it was just so crazy. Like, going from being so independent to having to rely on everybody for everything. I need a shower, I have to rely on somebody to shower. I can't wipe my ass no more. I can't even piss on my own. Like, I had to use a catheter. Like, I couldn't do anything on my own. It was just like, damn, like, But like, I'm keep talking about this story is just so crazy. So that's why I said bear with me. Like, it's hard to put it all into perspective because so much happened in the hospital. And it's so much that I want to tell people, like, show, like, what actually happened in the hospital. Like, my dad, he quit his job in the hospital to be there with me and to help me on my recovery and to be there as support. And we ended up losing all of our money, like, because my brother was still, we were like 40 minutes away from my house, and so we couldn't continue to drive all the way back to take my brother to school and to practice because he was also playing football. And so we couldn't continue to do that because my dad didn't have the job anymore, and my mom wasn't working at the time either. So, like, we ended up losing it all. Like, my brother couldn't even go to school anymore. We couldn't pay the car bill, the house bill, none of that. We was always getting threatened to get evicted from our house, always, like. But that's nothing really new to our family because we always got, like, those are another story for another time. But, like, that's not really new to us. But the circumstances of that, it made us rely on God, like, so much more. Like, God came through in ways that's, like, I don't even know how to explain in words. Like, it was just so supernatural. Like, one lady came in there and she gave my dad the exact amount of money that he needed to pay the car note. And it was just, like, crazy. Like, it was crazy. It was insane. I don't know if it was a car note or I forgot what it was, but it was a major bill. And it was like $700 and something. I don't know the exact number, which is not that important. It's just the glory of God and what He was doing through that. And yeah, it's like back to like, yeah, so like in children's, like I gained a lot of my recovery back. I think like 2 months in is when I began to be able to start doing big things, like being able to eat. I mean, I wasn't able to, like, you see I move my, like, it was just like I could move my hands like this. Like, I couldn't really do as much, like, but it was still like major improvement from somebody telling you that you will never move again. Like, it could take up to 2 years for you to move and you'll never walk again. So like that was a blessing for all of us around, everyone in the hospital. Like, it was very inspiring to see. And so I ended up being able to walk.
All the way to the room.
I ended up getting back on my feet. I ended up walking out of the hospital due to those therapists, those there who didn't allow me to sleep on myself, who didn't allow me to give up. Like, thank God for those therapists. Like, but yeah, I ended up walking out of the hospital. Like, I didn't have to get wheelchaired out the hospital. Like, I ended up walking out of the hospital. They said I would never walk again. I walked out of the hospital. I may didn't walk exactly how I wanted, but I walked out the hospital, and that's the blessing right there. Like, that's what kept me going. Like, I'm walking, like, and I had to wear that. I don't know if y'all see in the videos, the seat collar that I had.
I'm not touching you.
The seat collar, yeah. I had to wear that 24/7 for like what, 6 months. I got it off in 6 months, and when I got out of Choa, I transitioned to day rehab, which was where I got a lot of my movement back, and that's when I started to get on the cane and learn how to use the cane. And it was like it was like a step up from the rehab that I was doing at Children's, and it was like more intense, and it was like a school day. Like, it was literally like school. Like, I would have to go get on the bus, go get checked in, have a spin. I think we used to get out at like what, 3 o'clock, and it was just like every day for like, I don't know, I forgot how long that was, but it couldn't be longer than 2 months. Couldn't be no longer than that. But yeah, so that's really my experience when I was in the hospital, and there's more things that I will eventually speak on. It's just that right now my mind is like, it's just so bottled up. It's because a lot happened during these times. A whole lot happened, like, that's just not at the top of my mind. And I'm still undercovering a lot of things, because a lot of emotions I buried, a lot of feelings I buried as time went on. Like, you guys will see in the other videos, like when I speak on the next part of my life, you'll see how everything, like how I really didn't know what was next. I didn't really understand like I thought I did in the hospital. Like, I really didn't understand what was actually happening and or how much I lost at the time. Like, I didn't understand that at that point. And so yeah, so that's what the things that I really want to also share is the next part of my life, because I feel like a lot of people they go through situations similar as mine, or not even similar. They just go through rock bottom, and a lot of times when you're at rock bottom, you don't respond in a way that you think that you would respond. Like, if I say, like me, just take me for example, I said that if I ever get paralyzed that I would kill myself. But I said that because I didn't know the version of me that can handle what I was afraid of. All right, y'all, I'm recording this video because I want to talk about the next phase of my life that I went through after I got out the hospital, because I feel like that's when the story actually is beginning. Like, that's when it all began to hit me, and like I really started to face a lot of the things that I didn't know that I was about to face. And I feel like a lot of people can take a lot of inspiration from this next part of my life, because I know a lot of people deal with I feel like a lot of people deal with mental health issues, especially in this day and age. So I'm done hiding myself. I'm done portraying to be a certain, not portraying to be a certain person, but I'm tired of hiding my flaws and hiding what makes me me. Like, I want people to be inspired. I want to show people like that anything is possible, and that God is always with you, no matter how tough the situation is. Like anybody can get through this. Like anybody can, as long as you have the faith, as long as you believe in yourself, as long as you believe in God. And if you can do those 3 things, then you can do anything in this world. And I just really, I'm done hiding. I'm finna put myself out there. Like you're about to see, and I just hope that each person that's watching this video, I just pray that God blesses you with the wisdom that I'm sharing and with the experiences that I'm sharing. I pray that you take heed and actually listen to what I'm saying. I pray that you let my testimony help you in whatever you're going through. And I pray that your faith may be increased, and may you have faith that I have, the same faith that I have. May it be manifested in you as well. But anyways, guys, I love y'all. I love everybody that's watching this video. And I hope that God does something amazing in your life, something miraculous. And I hope that you continue to keep pushing forward and don't let nothing stop you, because you are great. Peace and love.